Hi guys, I'm Adam Wilborn from WhatCulture.
And I'm Andy Murray from WhatCulture, and today I'm going to tell you all you need to know about WWE's latest set of financial results. I'm going to tell you why the company might not be going back to Saudi Arabia in 2020, and of course, your favourite topic and mine, ratings.
Plus, what Vince McMahon thinks is the real reason the Raw ratings are down. Triple H gives his thoughts on a 2-day WrestleMania, and WWE 2K21 is cancelled. This is the news.
But let's kick things off by talking about the financials. They came out yesterday. It's Q1 2020. So before we dive into this, ongoing global situation would have only covered about, 2 or 3 weeks of this, roughly. It's till the end of March and so forth. Keep that in mind. Not every figure here is going to have been as grossly affected by that as you might think initially. So some good news and some bad news, as is always the case with these things. Revenue is up from Q1 2019. We see a leap to $291 million. Profits are also up. Q1 2019, they actually made a loss of $7.6 million. This time, we're looking at a profit of $24 million. These numbers are both better than Wall Street's initial projections, beating them out by several million. That is good stuff indeed. Most of it's down to the new TV rights deals, of course. USA Network, Fox throwing more money than ever at WWE for their programming. Looking at how good those figures are, therefore, brother, it just makes you wonder, why the hell did you release people? Once again, you didn't have to, did you? You rotten people. Other news across here, network subs, paid network subs are down to 1.461 million from 1.584 the previous year. Raw's viewership is declining at a much higher rate than the cable average. The show's down 16%. Cable, the top 25 shows, were only down 5%. However, SmackDown is up 16% because of the move to Fox and the bigger audience that has brought. An interesting one here, live events, despite having less shows, which should theoretically create less of a loss because each of these individual shows makes a loss, they lost 3.2 million on live events in Q1 compared to just 200,000 in Q1 2019. So, plenty to pick apart here. I think the biggest takeaway revolves around the revenue and the profits, and further strengthening the argument that those releases were utterly unnecessary.
Yeah, I realise we caveated this with the fact that it wasn't really affected yet by the ongoing global crisis, and their business could have been absolutely decimated in the subsequent months. But generally, we all know they're probably going to be fine with all the TV deals that they've got and the Saudi stuff, even though obviously they're not going to go back to Saudi Arabia, one would assume, for the rest of this year. That's a 10-year agreement in place. Yeah, I'm not surprised. Again, I seem to say this every single morning by either WWE's actions or the reaction to what WWE are doing, but I just hear, hundreds of millions of dollars being chucked around and certainly the amount they're making in profit there, and think, you really needed to cut everyone? You really needed to furlough all those producers who've worked with the company for years upon years upon years? No, you didn't. You just did it to make yourself look a little bit better and to line your pockets even more, when this is, obviously, yes, the argument can be made, look, the WWE have got too many, in terms of wrestlers, far too many, that they've just hoarded to make sure they can't go over there, but you didn't need to do this right now, did you? I'm all for cutting people if you feel like you can't really use them for anything, but timing is everything here, and cutting them at a time when they cannot go and make money anywhere else, let alone just in wrestling, is just brutal.
Yeah, we should point out as well, obviously, that the cuts they've made, that the people let go, won't be reflected until future reports. However, these numbers, these better than average numbers, these better than expected numbers, just kind of hammer the point home.
Exactly. But you mentioned the Raw ratings there, Andy, and as part of Vince McMahon's business call surrounding all these figures and debating all that, he's given what he thinks is his reasoning behind Raw's drop in ratings. And once again, it's nothing to do with the ongoing global crisis. It is instead to do with Brock Lesnar. Vince McMahon basically insisting that the fact that Brock Lesnar isn't on TV is why no one's watching anymore, not because the product's a bit crap at times. Vince said, we no longer have Brock Lesnar. I mean, you do. He's been on TV loads this year, but okay. But we have a new champion and a lot of new performers coming in. That's the reason. How you use those performers in this story or that story with new talent, it's going to take a little while. I'm convinced the Raw ratings will bounce back considerably. Yes, Andy Murray, because they've got such good, shining examples of how they've brought new talent in and really allowed them to flourish.
Yeah, I mean, the thing with a quote like this is that you take it out of context and you isolate it from everything else, and it does make sense, right? I mean, he's talking about like lesser known names being brought into the spotlight and how it takes time to build them up and so forth. That's absolutely true. However, at the same time, Brock has been on TV a lot, as you say, this year, and there's a lot of other factors with regards to how WWE's viewership has declined and why it's declining and so forth. I think last year on this very same call, he made a similar comment about how all these big stars are injured, and Roman Reigns hasn't been here, and this guy's been hurt, and this person, and blah, 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 blah. Everything's going to be fine just after that. Here we are a year later, brother. It's all fluff for the investors, really, isn't it? It's not much substance to a lot of this.
Basically, Brock Lesnar's going to win Money in the Bank again.
Yeah, and then win the title the next week. Boom! Maybe even the same night.
Here's a thought, Vince. Here's a thought. Maybe do good long-term booking and storytelling rather than going, oh, loads of people watched when we did the Rusev and Lana and Bobby Lashley stuff. Let's just do that every week. Or, oh, Goldberg popped a rating. Let's just make him Universal Champion for no apparent reason.
They just kind of spam those things to death, don't they? Another thing that emerged from this earnings call is some news on the Saudi Arabia show. So WWE were hoping to return to Saudi, presumably for Crown Jewel, you'd imagine, or like, I don't know, the greatest WrestleMania, something like that, in November. That doesn't seem like it's going to be possible anymore. So Vince McMahon and Frank Riddick, I can't say Frank apparently, who's doing the job essentially of Michelle Wilson and George Barrios following their departures, spoke about this, saying that Saudi Arabia may not be able to guarantee them a date in November or December. However, the silver lining of this is that the show won't necessarily be cancelled, it'll merely be postponed. They'll tack that on to the end of their 10-year contract, so the show will happen like a decade from now or whatever. No real loss in revenue. There will be one this year, but it'll come later on. No Saudi pay-per-view. Can't imagine, a lot of people are going to be crying about that.
No! Yeah, no, I'm absolutely fine with this. I'm also fine with the revelation that we aren't going to get like 3 Saudi Arabia shows next year or something to make up for it. It's just going to be, as you said there, stuck on the end of the tenure that they have with Saudi Arabia. Look, I mean, it's obviously the right thing to do. Hopefully, just as this sort of global issue is calming down, you don't want to be flying all over the globe, and I, don't know when that's going to even be feasible. I know there was still suggestions that WWE could be going on tour in June. That's probably not going to happen. They're not going to be going to Saudi Arabia. There's obviously a terrible state of affairs in the world right now, but always good to have a silver lining to that cloud. No Saudi Arabia show for the rest of 2020 is good news for me. And speaking of good news, Triple H has been chatting with one of the best podcasts after ours, Corey Graves' After the Bell podcast, all about...
Much after ours, it should be said.
All about WrestleMania 36 and the fact it was a 2-day show rather than the usual 1 day, but feels like about a week because they stretch it out to like 8 hours or whatever. And he seems to hint at the fact that may become the norm. Tripp said, my opinion is my opinion, but I think it was much more enjoyable than the 8-hour extravaganza. And he's not just talking about his match with the Batista at WrestleMania 35 there. It's just so big that it's almost, when you think about it, it started out as a concept that ended up becoming a festival. So good news, I think, there for WWE fans. We've debated about it, we've speculated about it quite a lot over recent years. I think a 2-day WrestleMania, as much as people may moan that it's, really milking what is, one of the biggest shows of the year, I think if it gets more people on the show, if it gets 2 main events, it's only going to be a good thing.
Yeah, I have no complaints whatsoever surrounding this. It's so much more watchable, it's so much easier to consume. It's 2 nights to look forward to instead of 1. You're going to have enough energy left for the matches on the loaded second half of the show. I don't see a single downside to this, brother. I love two-night WrestleManias. I love the idea. And it's a shame we had to come to them through these circumstances. But, you know, here we are. Let's do it. Let's go forward.
I will caveat this. Two-night WrestleMania, good, so long as it's like 3 to 4 hours, including the pre-show. Don't be there going, all right, two-night WrestleMania and a 5-hour main show plus a 1-hour pre-show. That's 12 hours. Don't do that. Don't take the piss.
Yeah, don't give us 400 matches or anything silly like that. Let's move away from earnings reports and business and WWE stuff and talk a little bit about the ratings for the Wednesday Night Wars this week. This is the part of the show where you call us biased for quoting figures. It's weird. AEW bounced back. They have recovered from a 2-week skid as far as overall viewership goes. 731,000, which is up 7% from the previous week. NXT fell 4% to 665k. 18 to 49, AEW won that 0.25 rating. NXT was up, however, to 0.18. This is actually the first time in a couple of months as well, or weeks, whatever, the NXT is actually featured in the top 50 for the key demographic as well. So that's encouraging from their standpoint, but usual caveats, it's a weird time, ratings aren't changing all that much. These things are just kind of sitting at this level with minor fluctuations every single week. You're not going to see many jumps or craters, I don't think. There you go, crater, Ben Roy, you can do your thing with that. You're not going to see many big changes until everything goes back to normal.
No, exactly. I mean, this is an improved rating for AEW, but in reality, compared to where we were, they're all crap, they're all rubbish. Not just Raw, not just SmackDown, but AEW and NXT. As a result, as we always should caveat, with the ongoing global situation. To be honest, people are going to say that we're biased, so I'm going to try and counter that by them saying, pretty desperate move by AEW this week to say, oh, you better watch because Dustin Rhodes might retire. Clearly won't retire. I mean, no offense to Kip Sabian, but he was never going to lose that match in the TNT Championship tournament. And I haven't really, broken these figures down and looked at hour by hour stuff, but you can kind of understand it, especially if people are switching over, because if I'd have watched NXT live, turned it on and they'd said, Finn Balor's disappeared, so that's not happening tonight, you'd have gone,
Yeah.
So it makes sense. AEW
Interestingly.
AEW was the better show this week as well. NXT was all over the shop. If you'd have turned on, I thought about this yesterday, if you'd have gone, oh bloody hell, I completely forgot NXT's on. Let's turn it on. Maybe it's going to be, Drake Maverick's important match in the NXT Cruiserweight Championship tournament, or maybe it's going to be a main event. Finn Balor, Velveteen Dream, the winner gets to go forward and face NXT champion Adam Cole. And you turned it on, and it was Keith Lee, nearly choking to death after he got hit in the throat with a nightstick by Damian Priest, and then Dexter Lumis and Velveteen Dream versus Roderick Strong and Adam Cole. Yeah, not what you'd expect.
Yeah, it's weird times. I feel like these ratings are kind of like a coin flip at the moment, but they are what they are. Interestingly, coming out of the previous week's show, apparently that Kenny Omega and Michael Nakazawa tag match a few weeks ago was like the biggest ratings winner of the night, and everyone apparently hated it. So who the hell knows what's going on at the moment, man? It's crazy.
Not everyone. I can see our editor Ben Roy popping his little tits
off he
is, in our call. So yeah, at least one person liked it. Right, let's move on and talk about WWE 2K21. Been cancelled. No real surprises again. WWE confirming the news. Game writer Justin Leeper had claimed that it was going to be cancelled earlier on this week. It's a multitude of issues. But yes, as I said, WWE confirmed it in that Q1 2020 earnings call. But their plans to release 2K22 in 2021, I never understand how this works. Why not just release 2K21 in 2021? I don't get it. I realise I'm a FIFA player and that's the same complaint. But anyway, at the time of recording, I suppose, the 2K 2022 is still going to come out next year. But yes, no 2K21 game out later on this year. And the last one was so good, Andy.
Yeah, it was such a roaring success that I am absolutely bemused by this. I do believe that there's going to be an announcement on Monday regarding the future of the franchise as well, and apparently we're going to get a different WWE game this year, so maybe it'll be less of a sack of piss than the last one. Jesus.
Here Becky Lynch's the pains getting brought back.
Oh, please, just remaster that crap with
No
the
mercy. Roster. I mean, SmackDown 2, Know Your Role, formative
SmackDown
games.
SmackDown 2 where you could like powerbomb dudes off the top of Hell in a Cell and stuff. Give me that immediately.
I told you the story about when I created me in SmackDown 2. I was about 7 foot tall. I wrestled in sunglasses and camo trousers, and I accidentally eliminated myself from a Royal Rumble because I did my taunt, which was like a triple twisting backflip, which of course I'm famous for in the WhatCulture office. Right, let's move on to your Twitter questions at WhatCulture WWE, of course, if you want to get in touch with us. First question today comes from Rob Bryant, who says, after Braun and Lance Archer clashed on Twitter last month, is it possible that WWE made Braun Universal Champ to show that they have the biggest monster?
I don't know, man. I don't think so. I think that this was literally just them going, oh crap, we can't put it on Roman, better put it on Braun. Well, the Braun situation is interesting because you can do the Roman feud after this all blows over, and the Roman-Braun feud previously was incredible. So I don't think there was anything to do with Lance. However, if they think that Braun is a better big man than Lance Archer, they are mental.
Yes, and do you think Bray takes the title back at Money in the Bank, by the way?
I think there's a strong chance, and I really wish they hadn't thrown Bray back at the belt so soon, because I don't think he needs it, and I think he's better off doing these wacky funhouse matches and stuff. But yeah, man, they could change their mind at the drop of a hat, can't they? Like, they've never really believed in Braun for longer than a few months at a time in the past, so I could see it happening.
At least he's held the belt, I suppose. Christian Poderiu gives us our second question of the day, saying, would you like to see an angle where Heath Slater wants to join Dark Order, but the Exalted One doesn't want him?
That's really good. That's really good. It'd be kind of like the ultimate FU to the performer in kayfabe as well. It's like even the group that solely recruits losers doesn't want you. I think that would be tremendous, and Heath would be absolutely hilarious. Heath Slater absolutely rules, man. Yeah. I want to see that guy get a gig, and I want to see it in a bigger company if possible. I would love to see that. I think that would be hilarious.
And if Heath Slater is watching this, we're not saying anything bad about you here, and I would love to interview you, Heath Slater, so please do get in touch and tweet at him, tag me, tag him, tag WhatCulture, and we'll try and get that one sorted, because I love him, I'd love to chat to him, and we all think he's a legend at WhatCulture. Final question today comes from the Exalted Midget on Twitter. I also like his handle, at Eat Yeet Delete. Very good. I like this one. This may be a nice sort of happy one for a Friday, this Andy. Nice cheery question today. He says, what's the best moment you've had with the wrestling lads at WhatCulture? What instantly comes to mind and makes you happy you had that moment with those guys?
Oh my goodness, there's so many, but like, if I can be really generic and basic, it's like the entire New York trip, honestly. It was like organized chaos is how I describe it. You'd wake up at 5 a.m, you would work all day, you would go to bed at 1 or 2, you would maybe get 2.5 hours sleep if you were lucky, and you'd do the whole thing again. You were on your feet constantly. Admittedly, some of that time was watching shows and stuff, which was awesome. It was just a beautiful, brilliant experience. It brought us all really closer together as well, I think. A few of us had a little, arguments along the way and stuff, brother, but hey, that's what happens. That's what happens when you're a closely knit team, and I think we had a great time. We did some good work. A lot of fun meeting all the people who were in New York and like our content and stuff. That was awesome for WrestleMania. Highlight of my career, definitely.
Yeah, I think that's what you ask any of us. That's what we're going to say. Look, I know we had arguments. Simon Miller shouldn't have challenged me to an arm wrestle. That's all I'm saying. But yeah, just going to my first ever WrestleMania. Obviously, one that personally, at least, I thought was one of the best WrestleManias in recent memory. Going to TakeOver, I just remember, because we were separate for TakeOver, me, you, and Sige. I just remember, I'm fairly certain, jaywalking, running across the street to scream at you how great that main event was. And just, getting to spend time with all the guys. Like you said, I mean, I lost my voice about 2 days in and was just sat there at 3 a.m. doing podcasts in my bedroom with like Nicholas and Cleary going, what did you think of Monday Night Raw then? It was amazing. I think far and away that my favourite part of it all was the live show we did at Stand Up New York. Massive shout out to those guys, massive shout out to everyone that came. And yeah, not to be, arrogant, but it was so nice just walking around and people just spotting us, or mainly spotting Miller, and then going, oh, there's the rest of the guys.
Yeah, there's that guy with the weird ears.
Getting photos taken with them. The highlight of the whole trip was Andy Murray getting mugged off for some CDs in Times Square.
I'll tell that story another time.
But yeah, and I think the only thing that's going to top that is the first night out we have when this is all over.
Oh, it's going to be explosive. Like, we're talking like Christmas night out level of 2018 violence. It's going to be ridiculous.
All I'll say is, some people are going to need gum shields. Right, let's
Hey.
move on to today's and finally. That's a story for another time. Just listen to an old WrestleCulture after one of the Christmas parties. Right, this one we're going to move on to today's and finally, and we all at WhatCulture want to give a massive shout out to Jason at, how do I say that? CLWYD Creative. It feels Welsh to me.
Welsh, Jules stuff.
Fluid Creative. Jason, let's just say his name, Jason, because he's made all of us as Funko Pops, and they are amazing. When I say all of us, not just all of us here on the wrestling side of things. You've got Scott Tailford, you've got Jules, obviously, you've got Josh Brown, Ash, Gareth, Ewan. Every one of us has been made as a Funko Pop. I tell you what, I've seen those people who collect them, right? And I've always been a bit like, I'm not bothered. Someone got me a wicked Mick Foley one, but I wouldn't actively try and get them myself. I want all of these on this shelf back here.
Yeah, me too, man. If there's a way, if Mr. Funko Pump, if Frankie Funko is watching this video, man, let us know. And Peter Pop, get him involved as well. We want the collection. These are awesome, though.
Yeah,
what a treat to wake up to today, man.
Thank you to Jason. Please go on, give him props, because he's been really creative, made some great stuff for us. And thanks to everyone who's been sending us some cool stuff whilst they've been locked up inside. It always brings a smile to our face. Great stuff. Thank you for that, Jason. Let us know your thoughts on that and all of today's news stories in the comments section below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And subscribe to WhatCulture Wrestling on either iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts from for daily wrestling podcasts. WrestleCulture later on today. And don't forget, 4 p.m. live here on YouTube, myself and the Dadley Boys will be previewing SmackDown tonight and running you through any breaking news stories as we always do at 4 p.m. Plus, you can let us know your thoughts and Twitter questions on Twitter at WhatCultureWWE. March there, follow both of us. You can follow Andy at
Andy H. Murray. The H stands for happy weekend. It's beautiful outside, man. The weather's going to be warm. If you've got a garden, a balcony, some space, whatever, sit down, have a beer, enjoy this lifestyle as much as you can. I know it's hard.
Exactly. I've bought a disposable barbecue. I've got a lot of beer and gin in. I'm going to get sunburnt this weekend. You can follow me at Adam Wilborn. Follow us all at WhatCulture WWE. But for now, my thanks to Andy Murray. Thank you for watching, and we will see you soon.